Concerts, the one place where it's still socially acceptable to elbow somebody in the face just for being a dick. If you've never left a show deathly dehydrated with your ears ringing so bad that all you can think before going to bed is holy shit, I'm gonna be hearing this ringing for the rest of my life, please someone make it stop, then you simply haven't lived a life worth living. Concerts are about far more than just the music. They're about being surrounded by people who share your love of music, being able to support an artist that you enjoy, and drinking until you get violently angry at the soap dispenser in the bathroom. Concerts are God's gift to degenerates like me, so to pay tribute to, God, I'm gonna tell you why you need to go to more concerts.
Oh fuck no, bro, he hit my car in the highway, he's trying to leave!
If you're anything like me, your favorite thing about going to concerts is sitting in traffic for 2 hours just to get to the venue because the band didn't want to come to your shithole of a city. Don't even get me started on parking. You see, if you don't plan out parking 3 months in advance, your chances of getting scammed increase significantly. One time, I played follow the leader as anyone else would because I saw this big sign that said venue parking. So when I followed everyone in and when I went to pay, they nonchalantly told me that parking was going to cost $100 fucking dollars. $100. That is 10,000 V-Bucks just to park 1 mile from the stadium, only to get trapped at the top for 2 hours trying to leave. Fuck the Hollywood Park Casino, dude. The scamming ass motherfucker. Anyway, once you get to the venue, you're going to be standing in line for about an hour or so with people who are dressed in a way that would get them put on a watch list in any other setting. And even though these people look just like you, you're going to have absolutely zero urge to speak with any of them. My favorite thing is when a venue has 2 stages showing 2 entirely different bands, because you'll see people walking around like they just came out of the Barbie movie, panic for a second, thinking that they just got tickets to see 2024 JoJo Siwa instead of, 2022 JoJo Siwa. Once you get into the venue, you're either immediately going to get in the merch line or you're going to run straight to your seats because your mom made you late for the one opener you were excited to see and they're halfway through their set. Mom, this isn't about you. Please don't be mad at me. Well, that is unless you brought your significant other, because then you're going to be waiting outside of the bathroom for the next 20 minutes listening to the muffled sounds of all the great times you're missing out on. I don't really know how to transition into the next section. I don't know, segues are stupid.
Put the phone down!
I have the right to hold the phone.
Now that you've missed at least half of the show, it's time to get settled in. Seeing as my IQ score matches my net worth, I usually end up getting seats in the nosebleeds for big shows because apparently venues are okay with charging a minimum of $80 to sit anywhere that isn't on the roof. If you've managed to fork up 400 shekels, you might have been lucky enough to get yourself into the pit. You see, at most smaller shows, the only ticket options are standing pit tickets, which is great because it's the only time I ever get to stand next to a group of hot, sweaty dudes outside of a sauna. One time though, I got lucky and got 2 pit tickets to see Metallica for like $50 each, and I have never felt more out of place in my entire life. Talking to people in between sets is about the only time you'll ever catch me speaking to anyone outside of my inner circle, which I'm sure is the case for a lot of people. Usually, everyone around you can relate to each other because they all have shared interests and their personalities mostly resemble yours. This was not the case with the crowd at Metallica. That's because pit tickets were like $400 each, and me and my girlfriend got in for like $100 total, so the class differences were immediately noticeable. Sure, everyone was dressed just like me, but they were all wearing like the expensive versions of everything I was wearing. Usually I wear like black pants and a band shirt to shows, which, is pretty normal, I think. These people, though, were wearing designer ripped jeans with patched up jean jackets. And these weren't like any old cheap jean jackets that anyone could afford. These were like the pay to look homeless jean jackets, whereas I just look homeless by default. I ended up talking to this one dude in the pit who, for the most part, seemed pretty normal. That was until I realized that this kid had just turned 17, was in the pit absolutely alone, and kept bragging about how his grandpa's trust fund paid for everything. Also, at the same time, he would not shut up about how much he hated his grandpa. He hates his grandpa more than Nancy Pelosi's husband hates driving sober. If you did end up getting pit tickets though, get ready to fight for your fucking life because you're about to lose control of every ounce of your mobility. That's depending on what show you're going to, I guess. Like, you probably don't have to worry about that if you're going to see like Hosier or the Lumineers or something. You're simply going to become one with the crowd, feeling like you're in an ocean trying to keep your head above the water. You're desperately going to wish you were in an ocean though, because you're about to feel the thirstiest you've ever felt in your entire life. Like, once you get halfway through the set, you're gonna feel like SpongeBob at the climax of the SpongeBob movie. Don't worry though, after security is done beating the shit out of people for moshing, they might start handing out water bottles to people like you who are too stubborn to lose their place by going to concessions to make sure they don't, die of dehydration. I mean, why would you? You're 7 rows back, and you're pretty sure Ronnie Radke just spit on you at the end of his set, though that easily could have been some sweaty kid who doesn't wear deodorant. Anyway, when they're passing out water, you're going to get this primal urge to choke down the entire bottle. Don't you fucking dare. Everyone is watching you drink that water, desperately hoping that it comes to them next. So if you do end up drinking that entire bottle, you're probably gonna get an elbow to the face and a knee to the nuts during the next set. I am slowly realizing that I only go to violent shows. I'm sure if you're going to see Noah Kahan or Drake, you probably won't have to deal with any of this, though Drake might do something much worse to you if you're at a show and under the age of 18. I know the pit can be really intimidating based on, everything I've said about it, but I truly believe it's the best way to experience live music. It feels like nothing exists behind you and everything just feels so personal. It's great. If you're lucky, you might even catch a guitar pick, or a drumstick, or even a mic stand to the face if you're going to see Falling in Reverse. It's truly a magical experience. But luckily for my fellow poors, that's not the only way you can permanently damage your eardrums.
Excuse me. You know what? I need your help. You need to kill me.
The seats aren't a bad way to experience concerts either. The benefit of getting a seat ticket is that your legs won't feel horribly crippled by the end of the show, you don't have to constantly stress about losing your spot, and you can watch people beat the shit out of each other from the stands like you're a Roman emperor. The negative part is, everything else. For instance, people in the seats can be pretty fucking lame, dude.
A certified hood classic.
If you came to the show excited to see one of the openers, get ready to feel like the most hyped person in the crowd for their entire fucking set. If you're anything like me and have crippling social anxiety that controls every movement you make in public, you're gonna feel like you're performing the song on stage yourself if you so much as mouth the words to the song, because everyone else in the crowd is gonna be absolutely silent. And also, good luck trying not to feel like shit when an absolute banger comes on and you go to stand up and everyone just kind of looks at you like you're some sort of degenerate because you're the only one who even knows the name of the opener, let alone any of their songs. There's also a 78% chance that you're going to be seated within a 3-foot radius of the worst smelling person you've ever met in your entire life. And unlike the pit, where you can just push that person into the abyss and they'll probably disappear forever, there's no escaping the assault that's about to take place in your nose. In that moment, you're going to hit all 5 stages of grief once you realize that your smelling and your hearing are going to be battling to be the most overwhelmed sense for the next 4 hours. But honestly, that's what you get for being poor and not being able to afford seats next to people who smell like roses and cashmere, you cheap fuck.
Now we'd like just a minute of your time to say something about the environment.
Like I said earlier, concerts are genuinely my favorite event to attend, but I want to take this time to highlight some things that really suck about concerts, mostly because I think I'm a lot funnier when I'm pissed off about something. Ticketmaster can get fucked, dude. I fucking hate those grimy little gremlins. They're literally bridge trolls who think they can charge you the price of an entire ticket just because they own a website. Like, dude, I genuinely thought we got rid of monopolies in the 1900s when Teddy Roosevelt was in office and personally bent over and spanked John D. Rockefeller's hairless ass. But I forgot that corporate deregulation and trickle-down economics in the 1980s gave mega corporations unchecked power and the ability to sodomize everyday Americans with false promises of prosperity that the next 5 generations of our children will never know. Sorry, this doesn't really have anything to do with Ticketmaster. I just have a bone to pick with corporate oligarchies and the creation of a new peasant class. Sorry, that one got a little too real. If there's one thing that most bands are awful at, it's picking good interlude music between sets. Interlude music has the ability to bring the crowd together at a time when most people are just standing around wondering if they should wait in line for the bathroom or just piss themselves and deal with it later. You know, like a boss. Like when a band knows that they can pump up their entire audience just by playing The Black Parade. That's when you know it's going to be a great show. It's when bands start playing songs that don't fit the vibe at all that I start getting just a little bit tilted. Like, brother, I'm here to see Slipknot. Why the fuck is Born in the USA by Kid Rock playing on the overhead? Like, imagine you're going to see Ed Sheeran, and while you're standing around doing your little piss dance, System of a Down comes on full blast on the overhead. Those kids would lose their fucking minds. That's how I feel when Steely Dan starts playing before Metallica comes on. Like, that shit makes me want to repeatedly slam my head into the barricade until either the voices stop or Metallica comes on, whatever comes first. I don't care if I already talked about having to pay 100 smackaroos just to park at the Hollywood Park Casino, just because they scammed the shit out of me and made me park an hour from the venue, making me miss the opener who I was really excited to see, just to get stuck at the top of the parking garage for 2 hours because the idiots directing traffic are being, well, idiots, only for me to get into a yelling match with one of the employees who physically put themselves in front of my car so I couldn't leave, just to drive 3 hours home because every fucking concert is in LA. But I'm gonna talk about it anyway. Why can't music venues ever seem to figure out parking? I gotta plan that shit like a month in advance, because if not, I'm gonna have to park 3 miles away next to a group of homeless people who look like they really want to go treasure hunting inside of my car. And if you're lucky enough to have a hotel room or live in a major city and you want to ride share, get ready to drop $50 to go 2 miles down the road, because Uber and Lyft can charge whatever the fuck they want you to without giving their drivers much of a pay increase at all. Simply because corporate deregulation and trickle-down economics in the 1980s gave mega corporations unchecked power and the ability to sodomize everyday Americans with false promises of prosperity that the next 5 generations of our children will never know. Thanks, Reagan. Please like and subscribe. New videos every month.